My name is Wini and I've met Will Smith in real life. I met him at a premiere about 5-6 years ago. It was a London premiere and I made sure he heard my name. I was right at the front. I was like, Will, and he signed my autograph book. Yeah, a safe space to me is a place where you can be 100% transparent. You know, you can showcase your strength and your weaknesses without being judged and just be like an open book. So this is who I am and this is where I feel comfortable being. So the role that I was in at that situation was a youth engagement coordinator in the charity sector. So a typical day could be coming into the office, checking your admin. We do a lot of engagement with students, so going to schools and colleges doing presentations, telling them about our program, speaking to parents, career leaders, so that obviously safeguarding, they know what the program is about, and getting like senior business volunteers involved to engage with the students and, you know, describe to the students what their career path looked like, how they got to the role, and really just broaden the career leadership in schools. So I'd probably go to meetings, meet business leaders, and then from meetings go to schools, do presentations, and then from schools come back to the office and check up my admin, do the database, safeguarding, and contacting parents and guardians. I had a business meeting with a business volunteer and she provided me with a postcode for the building, but the building and the postcode wasn't the same. So, you know, sometimes you get the postcode and it takes you round and round the building. That's what happened. So I did call the receptionist and I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm going to be about 5 to 10 minutes late. I'm trying to find the building. And she was like, yeah, sorry, the building is a bit hidden, but let us know and I'll let you know, your business volunteer know that you're running a bit late. It should be no problem. So as I arrived, I was about, I think I remember exactly, I was like 8 minutes late. So I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm late. I just tried to find the building. And the receptionist agreed that the building was hidden. And she was like, it's fine, catch your breath. Do you want some tea and coffee? And I was like, can I have a glass of water, please? So she sat me down and I could see the business volunteer approaching me and you can tell she was already hot and flustered as it is. And I just thought, okay, it's a Monday morning. She's probably got a lot of meetings, you know, let's just get straight down to business. So I approached her, I was like, hi, my name is Wini. She's like, I don't have time for this. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry that I am a little bit late. Do you want me to maybe decrease how long we have each other? Because I can just go straight into what's important because I've sent you emails and everything like that. And she was just really hostile. She was like, okay, so what do I need to do? What's this program about? And I was like, can we just take a seat and let's talk about it? And she didn't offer me tea and coffee. I guess she probably thought the receptionist did. I had a glass of water and she was just like, oh, okay, so what's this about? And I said, okay, so this is a volunteering program. We want to connect students with business volunteers like yourself. Is this something of interest of you? And she was just like, yeah, well, I suppose so. But, you know, like you were just people like you. And I was like, okay, I don't really know where that conversation was going, but I kind of dismissed it. I just moved it to the side. And I started talking to her about the program. I had my laptop and my presentation and I was going through the PowerPoint and she's like, yeah, but like I said, people like you. And I was just like, okay, this is the second comment you've made now. What do you actually mean by people like me? Because I'm working for a charity sector. You know, I am a black woman. So when you're saying people like me, what is that meaning? Like I have braids on. I don't get where the categories are coming from. And I looked around the office and I was literally the only person that was a black person or a woman of color, whatever it may be. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's the senior office. I don't know where this is. I'm coming for a meeting. Let me not judge too quickly. So I started talking and it was just as if I was talking to a brick wall. She wasn't engaging. She was on her phone. And I just said to her, do you want me to stop the presentation? And she was like, well, if you're done, aren't you? And I was just like, this was not what the meeting was supposed to be about. I gave you the agenda. I gave you the email. And you kept referring to people like me. What did you mean by that? And she was like, well, you know, I'm just saying, you know, people like you, if you want to progress, you want to be a senior leader and senior. I was just like, okay, cool, that's fine. We'll have the meeting, we've ended, I'll send you the email. And I remember walking out of the office and the receptionist looked over to me. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, do you know what? I'm fine. Thank you for offering me the glass of water. I'm going to go. And as soon as I left the office, I cried. I called one of my colleagues and I was just like, I don't know what to make of that situation because I did apologize for being late. I was professional, I had my laptop, you know, I did a handshake, I did everything that I could have done. But that reference of people like you, what did that mean? Because if I look around, there is no one that's no one that I can relate to. So if it's people like you, what are you trying to say? And the way she referred to senior positions as well, I was like, let's be honest, there's not a lot of black people that are in senior positions across the board in the charity sector. So I went to the office and I spoke to my colleague and she was like, are you going to talk to the managers? I should have spoken to the managers, but I couldn't because I was kind of like, well, there's people like me. My managers are of, you know, white, other race. They don't reflect what I'm reflecting. So I left it and I didn't report to my managers, and I just kind of kept it moving. My colleague that I had this conversation with, I was covering for her because she was new. So she was like, talk to the managers about what happened at the office, talk to them about the incident. And I was just like, I don't know, I kind of dismissed it. I was like, yeah, I will. I'll just probably drop them an email. But I never followed it through, and I think I should have, but I didn't. With the situation that happened, the feedback that I was concerned about, because this is a senior business leader and it's someone that I've had good communication with, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't make a complaint about her. So I didn't want to make a case and it will just be like, well, you're the one that's complaining. She didn't do anything in the wrong, or whatever could have come from that. I just thought, let me just leave it, because they've got that rapport and that relationship, and I don't want to hinder that. I'll definitely say after the situation, I was really questioning myself and double checking. So things like emails, I would have to make sure that, I don't know, I've never had a complaint about emails, but I wanted to make sure that it was very professional, or proofreading over and over again. Or if I was now going to meetings, it was like, not putting on a fake voice or anything, but I had to bring myself to a bit more like, okay, hi, this is nice to meet, be all friendly. And I didn't want to ever have a sour face if that was the case, because it could be like, oh, here you go again. So I was always just smiling. I had to always think about things as I was doing it, double checking myself. And it did make me feel very insecure, very, very insecure. I think the reason why I cried was because, when you're trying so hard and it's like you've always been trying hard, you've always been trying to be the best that you can be, and then you get statements like that, people like you, and just even the way she approached me, it was just, why couldn't you just give me a chance? Like, I always feel like we have to always keep doing double the work, twice the work. I came in, I handshake, polite, everything. And that's the reason why I cried. I think I had enough. I was just tired. And where I was covering for my colleague as well, I was thinking to myself, well, if she went into that meeting with the situation planned out differently, would it have been like, oh, it doesn't matter that you were a bit late. I hope you found the building okay. So just the experience would have been different. When I decided to leave that role and move on to something else, I really wanted to get into an organisation where I could identify with a few of my own. And I think bringing that to the present role that I have now, I'm very, very passionate about it. So I've started like a forum in my work group, place, a forum group. And I think now if there's a situation where that happens again, I will talk to management and I'll just bring both sides of the story. Like, if I was in the wrong, fine, but I was in that particular incident, I don't think it was justified enough for her comments. It was just out of place. And I think now I would definitely bring it to management. Anytime I have any situations like that, I would definitely do that.
Hi, my name is Zainab and I am a human rights and political activist and commentator. My current role at the moment is movement manager for an organisation called the Activate Collective. In a charity job survey in 2018, 54% of BAME people working in a charity said they had experienced discrimination based on their race or ethnicity. Only 3% of the CEOs that took part in the survey were from a BAME background. This highlights the lack of diversity within the charity sector, but it also goes further to show us that there's a lack of diversity on the boards within the charity sector. So in the case of Wini, it's understandable that if she had worked in an organisation where she was a minority, then it would have been very difficult for her to go and talk to her manager, or to raise it with HR, or to raise it with her director. Within the charity sector, you're working with a demographic of people who already are operating on some type of moral high ground, because they are working in service of people and they're working with beneficiaries and victims. And so when it comes to tackling issues of prejudice, bias and racism, it can almost feel as if it's difficult to tackle it in the charity sector simply because people don't believe that they can be racist, or they can be biased, or they can be prejudiced. And what charity sector workers from every demographic need to understand is that they have been socialised a particular way. And they have been brought up with particular constructions of faith, race, sexual orientation, all of those things. And they're bringing it into the workplace. So it's very easy for them to bring prejudices with them. Just because you work in a charity sector, it doesn't mean that those prejudices automatically leave. They're still with you. And so they present themselves in a way that might make it difficult for somebody like me, somebody like Wini, to raise issues, because you already think that you are probably not racist or not being biased or being prejudiced. So how do we tackle Wini's situation in the charity sector? I'm going to give 3 solutions that I think would be really helpful for somebody like Wini in the workplace, with the understanding that the fact that she felt helpless and that she didn't do anything at the time is not her fault. It's just the product of the environment that she works in, and also the fact that she was a junior member of staff. So the first thing that I would recommend to somebody like Wini, but other people who work within the charity sector, is to join a union. That is so important. Joining a union means that you get great career advice, you get great training, and you get great support, legal and otherwise, should you wish to raise an issue within the workplace. And what also comes with a union is a huge swath of people who will support you and back your claim. You will literally just be the unionist within the organisation. The second thing that I would suggest for somebody like Wini and other women of colour who work within the charity sector is to join your Black, Asian and ethnic minority forum, and if there isn't one, make one or create one. The reason why BAME networks are really important is because it has everybody within the organisation. It has junior members of staff, it has middle management, it has directors, if all of those people are BAME within the organisation, of course. And what it means is that you get together and you can talk through issues, and you can find collective solution to the problems that you're facing within work. If you don't feel comfortable raising something with your manager, for example, the BAME Forum can together collectively write a letter on your behalf and talk about something either very specific to you, or they can talk about it in more general terms. But when it's coming from a forum, it holds more weight because it shows the organisation that many people feel the same way, and it forces them into action. The third thing that I would suggest is really getting to understand and know the different organisations out there that are there to support you as you work within the charity. There's an organisation called Charities So White, and they're a people of colour-led campaign movement that are working to dismantle institutional racism within the charity sector. I believe that they are an amazing force for good within the sector, and they will give you concrete advice on how to enforce change within your organisation or push through change. And just to end, an additional point that I would make is that you absolutely should, if you have been a victim of racism or prejudice outside of your organisation, but also inside of your organisation, that it is important for you to talk to your manager about it and to lodge a complaint, because that person who subjected you to that particular aggression needs to be held to account, especially within the charity sector. So you can do that through going to your union, as I mentioned. You can do that through your BAME forum, or you can do that through an organisation that I mentioned called Charity So White. But it is important that you do raise it with your manager.